Friday, October 26th. I've been listening to a lot of really cool blues stuff lately. Dave Van Ronk, Hot Tuna, Blind Blake. If you guys haven't heard some of that stuff, dig it up. It is really cool. Might have to be doing some lessons soon on this. It's been a while since we've done the finger-picking blues stuff, so I have a feeling of some of that on the horizon. But I digress. So let's see, interesting week this week. I'll tell you a little bit about some of the things that came out, and also really been some great questions and comments going on the forum. So I have some stuff I want to comment on about circle of fifths and some exercises and things like that. So we'll get to some answers, or at least opinions, maybe in a little while, and maybe throw a little kerosene on the fire, or we'll see. But had some cool tunes. I had a lot of fun this week putting this one together. That was, of course, Secret Agent, the Johnny Rivers tune from the mid-'60s. And today the Fly on the Wall came out of Fred working on that. And that's actually kind of what inspired the whole thing, was Fred is a big Johnny Rivers fan and got me started on thinking, man, I should do a lesson on Secret Agent. I remember when I was a kid, I learned it the easy way. Not the easy way, but kind of the slightly simplified way, but you really need that. Gotta make sure you get sliding into that note. So, and what else? The other Fly on the Wall kind of relates to Circle of Fifths and all that other stuff. So, and then this new tune I just heard on the radio the other day, and I thought, you know, that's a great little finger picking tune. It was, of course, Home by Phillip Phillips. So, if people are looking for a new, little slightly different finger picking tune to tackle, really encourage you to check that one out. Phillip was the American Idol, I think the most recent American Idol winner. But the song has interesting roots, and I talk about all that in the lesson, so I'm not going to go over it now. If you want to know some of the details on Home, go check out the lesson. So, what else? I think that was it as far as the main releases of stuff that came out. I don't know why that popped up, but questions coming up on the forum. Let me address a few little things. Oh wait, yeah, I'll do that later. Exercises. Two interesting questions came up about exercises. One was, can we modify an exercise to make it even, maybe necessarily a little easier, but to sort of slow it down or something? And absolutely. I mean, find what works for you, as long as you understand the point of the exercise. And in this particular case, it may have just been doing a little finger picking pattern and changing chords, but if the pattern's not comfortable yet, go ahead and stay on the same chord for 2, 4, 6, 8, 12 measures until you're comfortable there, and then just maybe gradually work in changing, and instead of maybe every measure, go every 2 measures or something. The most important thing about any exercise is, actually more than any exercise, is keeping it in time. So if you're having trouble doing a simple pattern like the House of the Rising Sun pattern, and always hesitate, or even like playing it, I'm going to work on that nail, and then hesitating, that's not, you got to go slower, slow it down, whatever you have to do to make sure it stays in time. So that's the biggest thing. But absolutely okay to modify them as long as you keep timing and are following the principles of like why we're doing that exercise. Which brings me to another question about some of my favorite exercises, maybe. And today I'll just probably bring up just a couple, because people are sort of asking like, what's a reasonable warm-up routine to go through or something like that. And I would say, especially if you're working on finger picking, start with, just warm up your fingers with something like House of the Rising Sun. You know, if you, a great set of exercises, and I'm glad somebody pointed this out in the thread, is Hector's lessons on the Giuliani right-hand studies. He's got a whole bunch of them, starting from he's kind of trimmed Giuliani's list of 120 down to like a few that are manageable. So some great exercises in there, and that's a really good thing to kind of get your right hand rolling. You could of course tackle something more complicated and head into a little Villalobos Etude number 1, if you like. You could work on Leyenda, as we've dabbled in a little bit, but I don't have lessons on either of those up yet. Someday, maybe. So a little bit of right hand exercises, and then with left hand, bar chord pumping exercises are a great thing. A song that I would bring up as a really good one to do for this is Roxanne, something maybe a lot of people have forgotten about, but partial bar chords that just keep working their way down the neck. All kinds of cool chords to D minor, C minor. And that's the biggest thing you need to do for bar chords, is just keep squeezing them. So a little bit of a drill like that. Now that also brings me to, I guess that's only really two things that I've talked about for exercises first. You could also work on picking exercises, things like I'd Love to Change the World. So again, many of my favorite exercises are songs that work on a particular technique. Don't Fear the Reaper. All of those could be good like warm-up drills once you've kind of got them down. And now, getting to the circle of fifths though. Really interesting discussions, and I want to thank Vanessa for putting up her video of a great way of using the guitar strings to see relationships. Now, I'm going to try to make this short. I got to get out of here in a few minutes, but a really important thing to learn in the beginning of music is the alphabet, forwards and backwards. You need to be able to think A, B, C, D, E, F, G. You need to be able to think F, E, D, C, G, B, A, etc., starting any place. And the next most useful one is to learn to get through the alphabet in thirds, because that's the way chords are built. So I had a student here last week, and I said, you know what, I want you to just all week walk around, starting on any letter, B, and be able to go through all the letters of the alphabet in thirds. B, D, F, A, C, E, G, B, D, F, A, C. Start on F, F, A, C, E, G, B, D. And start on D, D, F, A. Why is that important? Because that gives you the letters you need for any chord. So all of a sudden you're trying to figure out a chord that might be, what are the notes in a B chord? Well, they have to be a B, a D, and an F. Now let me fine tune them and see what they are, because I know B, D, F is 1, 3, 5, starting on B. Once you know that, if you start doing every other third, you now have fifths. B, D, F. Skip the D. B to F. That's a fifth. F, A, C. Skip the E. F, skip the A. C is the fifth of F. So getting used to going through the alphabet in seconds, A, B, C, in thirds, A, C, E, and then in fifths, A, E, B, F sharp, of course, is really useful. Now, as far as bar chords and stuff go on the guitar, you can sort of incorporate that into an exercise, and starting with F, especially because it's the first sharp on the circle of fifths in the key of G. Briefly, too, the circle of fifths is really just a way of keeping all these keys kind of in your head. It's useful for a lot of things, but it's more a reference point for, oh, if I have to get to the key with 4 sharps, I have to go 4 fifths from C. C, G, D, A, E. E is the key with 4 sharps. And then it has to have the sharps from each of those keys. The sharp from the key of G is F, the sharp from the key of D is C, the new sharp from the key of A is G, and then the new sharp from the key of E is D. In the case of those keys, always the 7th note. I am rattling through this way too fast. There's way too much information to be thrown in at the news. Okay, stop me, please. So, bar chord exercise. Play an F. Play it twice and say F in your head as you're doing that. Go to its fifth, which is 2 frets higher in the A shapes. C. Go to its fifth, same fret, E shape, G. Go to its fifth, 2 frets higher in the A shape, D. Go to its fifth, A. Same string, same fret, the E shapes. So So just say those in your head using F as the starting point, and again, this is because this is the order of sharps as they appear in the different keys. F, C, G, D, A, E, B. Now when you get to B, you could keep going, and we now get to F sharp, C sharp. It's going to be the same series of notes. But we can also switch that B down here to the second fret in the A family, and then continue. B, F sharp, C sharp, G sharp. Now, I would usually use G as my point to change into the flats. And now think of this as not G sharp, but as A flat. Its fifth would be E flat. Its fifth, B flat. Its fifth, F. And we're kind of back to where we started, but we might as well keep going. F, C. I'm at the 8th fret, and I'm going to the 10th fret for G and D, and then the 12th fret for A and E. And if you just did that, just the way I played it right there, you're working your brain, you're practicing your bar chords. If the bar chords are not quite happening yet, do it with just power chords. F, C, G, D, A, E, B. We go to the F sharp here, and then drop the F sharp down to the 2nd fret, F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, A flat, E flat, B flat. Okay, you get the idea. You can also, of course, do it with minor chords. Doesn't really matter. It's the roots that are important. So, okay, I gotta get out of here. Okay, what song am I thinking of? Yes, it precedes Stairway to Heaven. It even predates Taurus that we've talked about before. We might have to do more of these. I'm sure everybody's figured out what theme is running through my confused brain right now. Okay, gotta get out of here. This news is taking too long, and I hope I haven't confused anybody any more than they already were, and hopefully you can pull some bits and pieces out of my ramblings today. See you next week.